despite my feet. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Never mind, check my rhythm. I'm the man on the flaming
Okay. Here.
We've only got an hour. Hi there, everyone. I am John Fugelsang of VH1, coming to you live from Bishopsgate in London, England, and you are about to experience Paul McCartney's town hall meeting. Now, since we announced last month that Paul would be answering your questions live, we have received over 3 million questions for Paul via phone, mail, fax, and internet, and we're going to try and ask every single one of them tonight. It's a lot of questions, so why don't we get started? Enough of my yapping. Please join me in welcoming one of the greatest songwriters of the 20th century, Paul McCartney.
Here we are.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, John.
I got to tell you something. We did the math on these questions, and we realized that if you were to answer every single question that you've received and devote 1 minute to each question, we would be here for 5 years and 7 months straight.
Well, I'll give it a shot.
Okay, we'll talk. If you can talk fast, it'll help us quite a bit. Okay, we're going to begin with a question we received via mail from Jennifer Cotton in Bristol, UK. Get right to it, why not?
Yeah, let's go.
Jennifer wants to know, you've said Flaming Pie is a homemade album. What do you mean by homemade?
Good question, Jennifer. What do I mean? I was basically not under really any pressure to make this album because of the release of the Beatles anthology. The record company had said to me they didn't really need an album for a couple of years. So I started to just make tracks just for my own pleasure, get my friends involved, go to his studio, come to mine, and just take it real easy. And so the tracks came kind of homemade. You know, I got some of my family members involved, and we just did it not like you do a normal album where you'll do kind of, 3 months heavy breathing, mixing, doing this, vocals, backings. We just sort of made a few tracks, stockpiled them, and then suddenly it was there. That's what I mean, John.
It's that easy, eh? Okay. Let's move on. Now, we've got a full house here, and these people are jumping out of their skins waiting to ask you questions. So we'll begin with you, sir.
Hi, Paul. I'm Dale from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hey, Dale.
My question to you, sir, is who is your favorite guitarist of all time?
Jimi Hendrix, I think. It's got to be Jimi. Oh, man, great guy.
Pretty good pals, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I knew him a little bit because he kind of got discovered over here, really, even though he'd been working a long time in America. But I think I was possibly at one of his first gigs down a place called the Bag of Nails, which is a club I used to go to, actually, where I met Linda. And he just sort of shambled on stage one night, and we never used to really bother with the live acts. We used to be more interested in the records. The live acts weren't always that good. But he had these very big amps, and we were wondering what he was going to do with them, Suddenly this... And we just, And there weren't many people there that night, but then I think a couple of nights later he played again, and everyone was there. There was like me, Townsend, Clapton, all like paying homage already to this man,
Well, Joanne Kennedy from Swindon, UK, wants to know, Flaming Pie sounds like a mix of heartfelt ballads, blues, and the kick-ass stuff. Which do you prefer to play?
I don't mind. I like them all. Yeah, I mean, that really is the answer. I could say it's fun playing something like Flaming Pie, because, real sort of easy, and you're getting a little vibe on it. But I also love ballads, and I always have, you know. So it's both, actually. I don't have a preference.
What about live? Do you have a preference when playing live?
No, not really. You know, it's you want to do the sort of rocking stuff to kick ass, but then you want to relax a bit and you want to get into a bit of melody and you know and do the ballads. So that is the answer, John, and I'm sticking to it.
Listen to what the man said. All right, we're going to go to a video now. We went around the streets of America accosting random pedestrians with a camera and telling them, what do you want to know of Paul McCartney? So let's roll one of those questions, eh?
Yes. Hi, Paul. You play a lot of instruments. Which one's your favorite one? And when you're composing a song, which one do you like to use the best?
Okay. The answer is probably guitar, because I started off on guitar. That was like the first instrument. And then when Stuart left the Beatles, I kind of took over on bass because nobody else would. And when I compose, it's normally guitar, or else it can be piano. It's one of the two. But I think I prefer playing guitar. It's because I've been at it longest.
How many instruments do you play on Flaming Pie?
A bunch. I don't know how many.
It's nuts. You did everything.
Well, you know, the thing was, I was talking to Elvis Costello, and he was talking about drumming. And he said, you should really drum more. He said, you've got a good feel. Now, I'm not technically a very good drummer, but sort of, bop, bop, that kind of stuff I love to do. And I've probably learned a lot of it off Ringo, if you think about it. He's got that feel, you know. So I love drums for that kind of thing. So I did a lot of drumming on the album. There's me and Ringo on the drums. I played piano, because that's like another instrument of mine. Bass, of course. Lots of little keyboards. Shoes. No. Kidding.
And the knee slap.
Play shoes. Knee slapping I'm fairly good at, yeah.
Here's a really quick question before we go to break. If John were here today, do you think the Anthology Project would have spurred the Beatles to reunite and to tour?
Yeah, well, it's highly likely that before the Anthology Project we might have reunited, you know, if John were around. People give us a lot of offers, some huge money to reunite. But of course, you can't do it without John, you know. John, the Beatles was the Beatles. And people say, well, you know, maybe Julian or Sean or somebody could sit in. But you can't do it, you know. Without John, there is no Beatles. You know, there's the Threetles. But it's not the same. So, you know, we just got into the Anthology Project and just enjoyed it. And when we did Free as a Bird, it was as if John was there. You know, he's in the headphones. So that was enough.
It's enough for us. It was wonderful songs. Well, we've got to take a quick break. Stand by. We'll be right back with more questions for Paul McCartney here on VH1. Quick break. We are back live from London with Paul McCartney, and the music we just heard coming up was a song called Young Boy from your new album, not available yet in the U.S., Flaming Pie. And I heard that you wrote that song while Linda was making lunch.
Yeah, it's kind of mad thing I do sometimes. I'll set myself like a deadline to write a song. What happened was I was driving Linda to one of her cookery assignments, and she was having her photo taken. So for that time, they don't need me. You know, I'm just the driver. So I get, I'll go in a back room and take a guitar and then just think, okay, I'll make up a song now. So when they're finished, they'll say to me, what did you do? And I say, oh, I wrote a song. And then they say, never. In that time, I said, well, I did. Do you want to hear it? So it's a good motivating thing, a way to write a song. I did that with Young Boy, and also a song on the album called Some Days. That was the process I use. It focuses you, you know. What, Bill?
Do you work better under pressure, do you find?
I don't think so. Not really, you know.
No?
Maybe. I never thought about it, really, you know. I enjoy working anyway. So, I don't know, you know. I mean, I dreamed yesterday, so you can't really say that was under pressure. Or was it?
Maybe it was.
I don't think so. You know, a lot of people say that. Sometimes if you write a great song and you've been under a lot of pressure, you say, yeah, pressure was good. But I'm not sure if it's connected, you know.
Well, you know something? We received thousands of phone calls and letters for you, but the response via email was the largest in the history of the internet. Did you know that?
Well, I did not know that.
And they're still coming in. So I think what we ought to do now, because we're so intimate and so live, is have one of our people in the back just grab the quickest one that comes on and bring it on down. So let's have that. Can we get Email Girl to do that? Oh, there she is.
She's live,
okay.
and she's live, and she's loving it.
She's live, and she's... Thank you very much. Oh, that was outstanding.
Oh, that was good.
They wouldn't let me do that. It was a union thing. Okay. Oh, this is a good question. This is from James Gregory in New Orleans, Louisiana. What is your favorite song you have written since leaving the Beatles and Wings?
It's always difficult, you know, to have a favorite, because... but maybe I'm amazed.
Yeah?
Let me just make a short answer. Yeah, maybe I'm amazed. Maybe, you know.
What about since...
I like that one.
Thanks for doing that live in '89. You made a lot of fans happy. But what about since you left Wings, since the end of the '70s?
Probably stuff on this album.
Really?
I think, yeah, I think I really like some of the songs on this album. And again, it's difficult to choose a favorite.
Do your favorites change?
On this album, maybe Calico Skies could be like a favorite. Heaven on a Sunday, some days. I mean, I'll go through all the track list in a minute. But I've enjoyed making this album a lot. It came easily, and I'm proud of it.
My favorites keep changing on it. I can't decide. There's a lot of really strong songs on it. Okay, let's go back to some lucky kid in the audience.
Hello, Paul. I'm Susan from New York City.
Hi, Susan
Hi,
from
Paul.
New York City.
And one of the
I'm
reasons...
Paul from Liverpool.
Really? One of the reasons I'm here today is because my daughter really wanted us to win this contest from WNEW. And I did, amazingly enough. And I actually would like to give you something sometime that she wrote about meeting you. And if there was one thing, this is the question, if there was one thing that you could change about our world today, what would it be?
Well, one thing, violence. Get rid of all the violence and everyone go veggie and be into animal rights and we'll just be okay.
Okay, moving right along, so we're hoping to hit the 2 million mark soon. Is it true that John and you almost took Saturday Night Live up on their offer in the 1970s to show up and play a few tunes for a few $100 from Christopher in Charleston, South Carolina?
Yeah, it's true, actually. I was visiting John and Yoko in New York, and because we live in England, we hadn't heard about this. But they living in New York, they knew about this ongoing thing about, you know, we're going to offer the Beatles, I don't know, what is it, $24 or something? It wasn't an awful lot. And he said, you know what, we should do it, we should do it. And for 5 minutes, we nearly did. And then we said, no, you know what, we should just stay here and have a laugh.
But you referenced it years later when you were the guest and Alec Baldwin was on. I remember when Alec walked up to you and you're talking to Lauren, and Lauren said, well, I thought George was giving you the money.
That's right.
For those of us who got it, we were very happy. It was very funny. Okay, let's go to another question from a man in the street.
Hi, Paul. I wanted to ask you what your favorite song that you ever wrote was, both solo and for the Beatles.
Well, that was a great guy in the street.
Yeah, boy. In my neighborhood, you never know, you know.
Like I said before, you know, it's very difficult to choose a favorite. But in answer to that question, I nearly always say Here, There, and Everywhere, because it's one of my big favorites. But the minute I've said that, I want to change my choice and choose another. But, you know, that's near enough, I think.
I heard John once said that was his favorite song you'd ever written.
Yeah, we had a lovely moment, actually. Just after it was released, we were in Austria. I think we were doing some filming on Help. And he and I were sharing a room. We had a cassette of the album, and we played it through. And it was a lovely moment for me. He kind of just looked at me. He said, you know, I think I like that song better than any of mine on the album. And for John, that was big praise. Really? But it was lovely. I remembered it.
Lovely live version on Paul is Live of that song. I love the
Well,
live version.
thank you, John.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. That's why they picked me, because I'm
Exactly,
I'm
yeah.
freak who
He knows
every
more
piece.
about me than I do.
Let's go to the phones. We got lots of phone calls. Let's hear one.
Hi, Paul. This is Nancy Olson. I live in Bloomfield, New Jersey. I'd like to know what inspired you to write the lyric, I saw you hiding from a flock of paparazzi.
Life, maybe. You know, when you get famous, the problem can be you're in a private place and a bunch of cameramen can come in and kind of ruin your evening, you know. So I think that's it, just personal experience. I've been in theaters, you know, thinking I was having a quiet night out, and suddenly, like, about 6 cameramen have come. Come on, Paul, it's all right, Paul, smile. Well, look here, Paul. So I think it's just personal experience inspired that one.
And that's from The World Tonight, that line, right?
That's from The World Tonight, yes.
The current single in America. In the UK, it's Young Boy, I think, is the new single. Okay, let's go back to the audience. Who's next?
Hi, Paul. I'm Emily from Blackheath. Is it true that you go busking in the London Underground?
Well, I kind of always liked the idea of doing that. And when we did, well, you know, it's like, when we first started off, that was kind of how we were. You know, it's just you and your guitar, and you just played for a few friends. Then you get famous, and you never get to do that again. So it was always a bit of an ambition. And when we made the film Give My Regards to Broad Street, they had a sequence which allowed me to do that. So I went outside, I think it was Leicester Square tube station, and put on a little bit of a disguise and busked for about an hour. It was good. The only thing that was embarrassing, I was actually getting money. I should have it back. I gave it all to charity, actually. I felt a bit guilty about that. Taking all the money.
Well, we got to go for a break. We'll have lots more with everyone's favorite street musician, Paul McCartney, after this break. Hi there. We are back live with Paul McCartney on VH1, and the song you just heard was Beautiful Night from Flaming Pie, and you had Ringo Starr joining you with that one, huh?
I did, yeah. He'd always said that after we did the anthology stuff, Free as a Bird and Real Love, we'd enjoyed it so much, and he always said, you know, I'll come back and we'll play together. But the first time he was due to do it, he had the flu. It was probably just as well, because the timing this time was better. And I'd had this song, Beautiful Night, hanging around for a little while. I'd done a couple of versions of it that I wasn't very happy with, because I thought it was a good song, but just hadn't pulled it off. So I said, I know what we should do. So he came along. And it was great. We had a really good time. And as you can hear, he drums beautifully on it.
And sings as well, sings back.
And he sings, and the backing vocals too. Beautiful night, beautiful night.
I think this album also has the first ever released McCartney-Starkey song, am I correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Really Love You.
Well, yeah, what happened was, after we'd done Beautiful Night, we'd enjoyed it so much, and he was hanging around while the mixing was going on, just in case he was needed. But there wasn't anything officially for him to do. So I said, well, you know what, let's just go and have a jam, you know, we haven't seen each other for years or played together. So I said, well, I'll get on my Hofner bass, you get on your drums, and Jeff Lynne was there. I said, you get on guitar, and we'll just make up something. So he just sat down, just went into that sort of, boom, 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 boom. And then I had this sort of the nightmare of trying to think of words. It's all right for him drumming, you know, but I go, oh, I love you. And I just threw it out, you know, just grabbed it from somewhere. And that became that track. But I rang him up, I said, well, you know, you're writing on it because you started the drumming, so it's officially his drum beat, it's his rhythm. So, yeah, that's our first co-written credit.
The first released one, I believe you did one with Ringo a couple of years ago for his Angel in Disguise.
We've never heard more than me.
I'm sorry.
I do.
I had to.
I want to overrule that, John.
I really
My
wanted a
answer
job.
was right, okay? I am me, he is he, and we are together.
Okay. The next one from the pile is it true that you and John recorded together one night in L.A. in the mid-'70s? Are you going to release that session on CD someday?
Yeah, we did. I was at a session, and John was at a session, but it was such a mad session that I think what we did was jammed, and there was a lot of people in the room, and I've no idea where the tape is. Maybe you know, John. I was turning it up there.
There is a bootleg, yes.
There is a bootleg.
There is a bootleg, yeah.
He knows about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd like to hear it then.
I haven't heard it myself, but it's pretty rare, but I've heard it.
Yeah, we were together at a session. It wasn't kind of official, but someone switched the tape on when we were jamming. So we did actually record together. But I say I haven't heard it since. I would like to, please.
Oh, you're going to get it mailed like 400 copies now that you said that. Okay, let's go back to the audience, shall we? Who's next? Yes, sir.
Hi, Paul. I'm Greg from London. Great trainers, by the way.
Hi, Greg. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you, of the kind of newest generation of artists and musicians, who inspires you creatively in 1997?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Most of the newer artists I know through my kids, not through me buying them, just through hearing them play them, you know. So I like Beck. I like some of his stuff, you know. There's a band called Paw, who I think are a snowboarding band that I've heard a little bit of. I like Oasis, you know. I mean, it's always a loaded question, that, you know, but about Oasis. But I do like them. I think they sing good. I think they play well. And, you know, if they're going to be derivative, then it might as well be something I'm connected with. You know, it's a tribute.
Okay, let's go to our next woman in the street.
Is it a woman?
I think so.
This is a woman.
Oh. Hi, Paul. I'd like to know why you're vegetarian. And is it really true that your dogs are vegetarian as well?
Why I'm what?
Vegetarian.
Vegetarian? Why am I? Because it's a really good idea. For me, it's to do with compassion, not to do with health. A lot of people, it's like, oh, it's a healthy idea, which it is too. But for me, it's the idea of actually taking another animal's life. You know, I wouldn't go around with people doing it, and I extend that same kind of courtesy to animals. Linda and I, about over 20 years ago, we were having a lamb lunch, and we were eating leg of lamb, you know, traditional, and she was a real good meat cook, you know. But we had some lambs outside, it was lambing season, and they were gambling around, and there's nothing finer than seeing these little baby lambs gambling around, really enjoying their first spring, you know. We're going, yeah, no, yeah, lamb. And we just made the connection, you know. So we decided to give it a whirl, and it actually turned out not to be as hard as we thought it would be. So that's really it. And I also think it's a good idea for the next century, because I think it's a good economic idea with the population explosion. Getting serious here for a moment. But I think you're going to have more mouths to feed. And if you can feed 20 times the amount of people by eating vegetarian, which you can, rather than going through an animal, then it seems to me a really cool idea.
Is that why you and Linda did the Simpsons episode?
Yeah, exactly. We said to him, look, we'll do it only if Lisa stays veggie. You know, we said, you know, next episode, Homer could kind of say, that's all rubbish, you know, we want to... So they said, no, she'll stay veggie. She'll stay.
Well, you know, Paul, every fan has their own opinion on what's the best Beatles song, and they all say, oh, this one's the best, I like this one the best. We found an American Paul McCartney fan who really wanted to be on the show and talk about his opinions. Can we roll the tape of that guy, please?
I just thought they were full of energy, but they were also brilliant. I mean, you go back and listen to Sgt. Pepper's album today. They were brilliant. I still think Eleanor Rigby is one of the most powerful songs I've ever heard. I mean, they were just brilliant.
Woo! My man. Yo, Chris. Right.
Since you've now been knighted by the Queen, does praise from a president just kind of roll off your back or what?
No, he's great. You know, I have a lot of admiration for this man. You know, he's got a lot of good ideas, you know, and that was a really good one. No, I love him. He's great.
Okay. Do we have time for one more question? Okay, let's go before break. This is from Kathy Hall in Midland, Texas. Do you ever miss being able to walk down the street without bodyguards?
Yeah, I actually do walk down the street a lot without bodyguards, and it's actually probably not cool to say that. It's probably better if everyone thinks I got 50 bodyguards, yeah, you know. No. But I value my private self. So, I mean, for instance, when I'm going Christmas shopping, it's just me Christmas shopping, you know. It's a good excuse when you got all these. I'm sorry, I can't do it. But I do a lot of that, you know, but just because I've always liked that. I still do it.
Ever go out in disguise?
No, I gave up the disguise. Early Beatles days, I used to have this great disguise. And I remember walking out of the house in Liverpool and just walked down there. I was an old man. And, hello. She said, all right, Paul. So don't forget the disguise thing.
Okay, who's the next lucky audience person?
Paul, I'm Marjorie from San Diego. You've already talked about your beliefs in animal rights, and you touched on the subject in Off the Ground, your last CD. In terms of your political beliefs, what can we expect to hear from you in Flaming Pie?
You know, it's sort of the same answer to what would you do if you could pass a law. You know, it's peace, you know, if you have to choose something to advocate peace. And in the song Calico Skies, there's a bit about us crazy soldiers, you know, maybe we never be called to handle the weapons of war we despise. That's kind of my sort of view, you know. It's a fairly general one, but I do think it would really solve a lot if people could sort of calm down and talk instead of fight. It's been the way of the world for too long, you know. It'd be great if going into the next century we can solve things like Irish problem and stuff like that. It's got to be soluble, you know. It's got to be able to do it, but it just takes so long.
Do you think things are getting better?
Yeah, they're getting better, then they get worse, you know. But it'll happen. It'll happen. It's going to happen.
I agree. We'll be back soon with lots more with Paul McCartney. Paul, the song we just heard, Heaven on a Sunday, who was that guy playing the guitar solo on that particular tune?
That's me and my son James, he's playing the electric stuff. And yeah, he's really good, you know, and I just said to him, I had a little section in the middle of the song. It's kind of a little bluesy thing. I said, you know, would you fancy if I played a phrase, you'd like answer it, and we'd trade some licks? He said, yeah. So we did.
That easy.
Just that easy.
And that's James's first time appearing on one of your records?
Yeah, the first official one. I mean, we've made private home recordings and stuff, but it's the first actual record, yeah.
You got a lot of busy kids, actually.
Yeah, I got 4 kids. James is still in college, and he's looking maybe to do music. He's, you know, he would like to get into music. My daughter, Heather, is a potter. She just had a big exhibition in New York and in London.
The youngest cast member of Let It Be.
Yeah,
Heather.
That's right. Yeah, that was her.
For those who saw the movie.
Little baby she was then. And then my daughter Stella has just got a big job with Chloe in Paris, and she's head of the fashion group there. So she's the head designer. She's doing great, working hard. You know, she's got a lot to do there. And my other daughter Mary is into photography like her mum, and she also is into films and mainly photography, but a little bit of film. In fact, she and her boyfriend Alistair put together a video.
Did they?
So, yeah. Act surprised, John, act surprised. It's...
Really?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, well, you know what? He directed it, she produced it, and I believe it might just be coming up soon.
There you have it, folks. The premiere of the new World Tonight video by Alistair Donald and Mary McCartney. Seen for the first time just now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I love the ending. It just gets me in the end when you kiss your bride. It's really nice.
Yeah, it was nice to do. You know, we were just really on holiday. It was sort of started off as home movie footage, but then started to think, oh, Could do a video, yeah?
Cool, groovy, out-of-focus stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
This question is from Paula Stewart in Hazel Green, Alabama. Oh, he's making fun of me now, is he? I finally meet the guy and then on live TV. All right. In 1996, it was reported that the Beatles sold more albums than they ever did during any year in the 60s. How can you explain this continued and increased success?
Yeah, good. I'm not sure if I can, you know. I'm just grateful for it. You know, you naturally think this amount of time later that people will have moved on and they're not interested in that. But it doesn't seem like that. You know, like a lot of the younger bands are tributing the Beatles. And I think the other thing is the size of the business now. You know, when we started it, I don't think it was quite as worldwide, really. So, you know, if a thing catches on now, it can go bigger if it really catches on.
I read somewhere that the anthology made the Beatles the first act in history to have 3 songs debut at #1 in a single year, and they're all double albums. You're bigger than the Beatles. You're bigger than the Beatles.
Oh, yeah. The Beatles are bigger than the Beatles, yeah. Well, we were always waiting to see who was going to be bigger than the Beatles, and it was the Beatles.
Okay, let's go to the next phone call question, eh?
Hi, Paul. My name is Leandra, and I'm calling from Bloomfield, New Jersey. And my question is, what you mean by flaming pie, and if it has anything to do with UFOs? Bye.
Bye.
It looks like one.
I'll tell you, yeah, it's... what it was in real early days in Liverpool, before we really got started as a band, we were always asked, how did you come up with the name Beatles? And we always wanted to be in print. So John got asked by the Merseybeat, which was the local music paper, to write something. He was actually friends with the editor. And so he came up with this thing called On the Dubious Origins of the Beatles. And there was a line in it, something like, it was a joke thing, you know, he said, it came in a vision, a man came unto me on a flaming pie and said, you shall be the Beatles with an A. And so it was. You know, that became an easy way to answer the question, you know. When we were doing the anthology, this came up, and we were trying to persuade various people like that it was a joke, you know. Certain people were taking it a little bit serious, that John really had a vision and a man had come on a flaming pie. And we kept saying, no, that's like humor, you know. If you just said flaming phoenix or chariot, the minute you start saying pie, we're into jokes, you know. So that's what inspired the song, just the fun we had on the anthology with that title, Flaming Pie.
So who did create Beatles with an A? How did they come about?
It's it's sort of shrouded in history now. George and I remember clearly coming out of a place called Gambier Terrace, where John and Stuart had an apartment as art students. And we remember them coming out and saying, oh, we thought of a great name for the group. We said, what is it? And they said, Beatles with an A. We said, well, that's great, because we wanted a double meaning, because the Crickets were one of our big groups. And over here they've got the game called Cricket. And you've got the Grasshoppers called Crickets. So we thought that was a brilliant name, you know, double meaning. Grasshoppers and the game. But it turns out they didn't know about the game. They were just the grasshoppers, you know. So we thought, well, that's brilliant anyway. So that's what we were basically trying to do.
One of the great, brilliant insect names of the 20th century. We've got lots more with Paul McCartney, the one and only, coming up live on VH1. Keep it here. Hello there, folks. We are back here in London with Mr. Paul McCartney and your questions from Bishopsgate. And Paul, I believe this, set it straight, is this the Bishopsgate, as mentioned in being for the benefit of Mr. Kite?
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's, presumably the poster of that was taken off, you know, Pablo Fanky's Fair was somewhere around here.
The celebrated Mr. K performs his feat on Saturday at Bishopsgate.
At Bishopsgate, on Saturday, too. What a coincidence.
Is that why you wanted the venue?
Yeah, that's, I actually happened to be visiting a choir that was rehearsing here for something else I'm doing. And the VH1 people were looking around for a town hall. I said, well, I know one. And it's in Bishopsgate. So, in fact, I'll tell you what, have you got a minute for a mad idea?
You know what, Paul?
Are you ready for a mad idea?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Live. Hey, John. So here you go. Here's where we drive the sound men mad. You got to sing a bit, okay, audience? Yeah. I was sitting in my dressing room just before, and I thought, well, it'd be mad if I could come up with some little song about Bishopsgate, all right? And now it would be really mad if I can remember it. But what your bit is, sound man. All you got to do is, you got to do, come on back, come on back. Okay. Come on back, come on back. That's it. So remember, that's your bit. Okay. I'll try and remember the song now. Yeah, okay. Oh, now, baby, now the Bishopsgate ain't what it used to be. He came over from America and they put it on the TV. Well, now they say that they're coming back, and I can hardly wait. Come on back to the Bishopsgate. Come on back to the Bishopsgate. Now you one time. Come on back to the Bishopsgate. All right. Very good. Come on, very good.
World premiere.
Well, another world premiere, yeah.
You can go out on the road with the kids here. Tour around with that.
Yeah, my backup band.
Thank you, Paul. What
Good.
an honor. What an honor. Thanks.
Yeah, no, get out of here. I was sure I wasn't going to remember it. I just about did.
Well,
and you were wonderful.
You were great. You were great.
You were great. Not you, but you were great.
We're running out of time, and we're not even halfway through the 3 million questions. Sorry about that. Here's a question from Woodstock, Illinois. From Roberto. As a sheep farmer and advocate of animal rights, how do you feel about the sheep cloning experiments, and would you like to clone yourself?
I don't know. You know, I suppose, like most people, you feel a little bit scared when you hear this news about cloning and stuff, you know, because you just don't know where it'll lead. I'm not too keen on it. You know, I'm quite happy with the reproductive system as it is. Okay to me.
Okay, we're almost out of time. I want to ask you really quick, like 20 seconds, what's next for you? What's going on with you right now?
What's next for me? I'm releasing an album called Flaming Pie.
Oh, that one.
And I'm also mixing a big orchestral piece that's going to be in the Albert Hall on October 14th, which is a big stretch orchestral thing with the London Symphony Orchestra. And I think we may get that to New York in November sometime. So I'm doing a lot of work on that at the moment. And generally just hanging and having a good time.
Well, we are completely out of time, Paul. I want to thank you on behalf of everybody watching in the audience, everyone here, and everyone at VH1. It's a thrill to meet you, and for those of us who've loved you all our lives, it's a special honor, and thanks for taking your time to be with us.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Thank you. All right. Good, man. All right. Thank you.
My first time in England, I get to meet you.
Yeah, one more. Good time. Come back sometime.
I can't wait. I love it.
Come on back.
I want to move here. I like it in New York.
When you're wide awake, say it for goodness sake. It's gonna be a great day. Are you standing there? Get up and grab a chair. It's gonna be a great day.
Emotional time this year through the early months, and his game